Boom! We are on the air with Find Away champion Darren Humphrey. Darren, thanks for being here today, dude.
My pleasure, David.
Yeah, I'm excited to. What's that?
Anything for you.
I appreciate that, brother. I'm excited to have you here today. I've been looking forward to this interview for I don't know how long. Why don't we kick off the call with telling people where you sell real estate and how long you've been in the business?
My office is in Westlake Village. I'm with Aviara Real Estate, and I sell real estate throughout all of Ventura County. And I got licensed in 2015. My first full year in real estate was, 2005. My first full year in real estate was 2006. So I've been in about 15 years.
So you pretty much got into it at like the worst time you possibly could.
It seemed like it was a great time. And then, after collecting some listings my first year, I thought it was all of a sudden impossible to sell a listing. Nobody wanted to buy anything.
It was tough during that time, boy. It was really hard. Yeah. That is awesome. And what were you doing before real estate? I think everybody would like to know this.
So my background is in golf. Prior to getting into real estate, I was pursuing a playing career in golf that transitioned to a golf instruction and teaching career. So when I got into real estate, I was not a full-time agent. I was still teaching golf lessons in the evenings, on the weekends, and then, doing real estate as well.
Yeah, nice. And so the reason I bring that up is I suspect we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on, right? Like that athletic mindset and how that impacted your business. But recently, and the reason we're doing this interview is you were able to have that glorious $100,000 month, which very few agents can do. And it's kind of the thing that we've been striving for a long time. And I'm just kind of curious to know some of the changes that you made. But what was business like before having this $100,000 month?
Well, we were close a few times, but it always felt like there was a ceiling that I needed to push through. And sometimes it was one more sale I needed to make. Sometimes it was two more sales, but didn't quite ever get through that. And, may have been a little bit of a mindset barrier, may have also just been an issue where I didn't have quite enough structure. And then also I probably, as I got more and more into escrow, started focusing on handling the escrows instead of continuing to find the new listings and get new buyers into escrow. So had some ups and downs because of that and couldn't quite get to the $100,000 a month until now.
And it was really interesting. I mean, there were so many times we were like, oh my God, you just missed it. It's like a $95,000 a month, right? And we had to have this thing of there's just an integrity thing, right? It's not a $100,000 a month. It was a $95,000 a month. Now, we talk a lot about that in the league, about the $100,000 a month, because that's basically what my focus is managing to 100%. And I don't know if you know this, but it's a little over 67% of our clients have actually hit that now. And you are a big part of that. But I don't focus on it because of the money. You know what I mean? I don't focus on, as your coach, I don't focus on trying to get you to $100,000 a month because it's $100,000. I do it because it's a demonstration of the value that you bring to the marketplace. And I think that there's a lot of agents out there that have a lot of value, but they don't know how to get it into the marketplace. And I think that was something for you, right? Is like you come from a family of real estate professionals. Your mother and father were also very strong in the real estate industry. And so you as an agent provide a very unique value that a lot of agents don't. You have a very in-depth knowledge, very in-depth experience. And can you talk to us a little bit about some of the changes that you made to get that value to the marketplace?
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about very early on in coaching was changing my mindset to be able to confidently prospect more, confidently ask for the sale. We talked about how I could bring a different level of professionalism than many others. And if I wasn't out there prospecting and getting in front of people and making sure that I was an option for them, then I was doing them a disservice, because, I felt like they would get a lower level of service with a random agent than they would if they worked with me. So making those phone calls, following up on those leads, making sure that I was staying in contact with my circle of influence and my database, all of a sudden became a service to them instead of an annoyance and another sales call, the way that I was looking at it.
Right. And that is profound, right? Because when we're doing it for us, that creates a level of fear of rejection, because we're like, well, it's almost like we're calling going, well, will you give me some money? No? Oh man, I feel like an idiot for calling for money. Right. And I don't ever think that was your goal anyway, but I think it was the awareness around, and you said it so good. And like, that's my mission in life, is to get the agents who are good at real estate to be good at sales and marketing, so that they get more of the business, so that the real estate agent has a better name. Because you're right. If the good real estate agents like yourself don't market and sell themselves and get the business, you end up with these people who are good at marketing and selling, but they're not good agents, and it gives a bad name to real estate agents. And so you could, by not doing your job, end up having them go with a mediocre agent, and now you're thrown in that pack. And that can be very motivating. And it's interesting that you said mindset shift, because I think one of the demographics of agent I like working with are former athletes. And I love working with them just because of their mindset. What effect do you think being a professional golfer and being at that level and competing at such a high level in golf, what do you think that does for you in business in terms of mindset?
I think anybody that's had success in athletics, and has been a college athlete, has been a professional athlete, has to be very self-motivated. There's a lot of distractions. And as you continue to improve and level up in a sport, you're competing against the best of the best. So as far as how did that affect my business, it's just being self-motivated. I am not happy if I feel like I'm not giving everything in whatever it is that I'm doing. And in this case, in my career, if I do something half, I know it, and I'm not gonna let myself do that. So,
and one of the things that I noticed that is very athlete mindset is that you tend to do really well when I show you the scoreboard, right? When we really focus on the metrics and the math of the business, it creates a scoreboard that you're like, okay, I can do better than I did last month. I could do better than I did last month. And there's also, as your coach, as somebody who's coaching you, for the people listening to this, I noticed that you have very thick skin, right? Like your ability to deal with failure and recover and move forward. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens in business and in life that can really knock you down. But I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I admire your ability to take the hits and keep moving forward. That is extremely hard to do. And it's very much a mark of like a lot of athletes have that. It's not the only people that have it, right? But that's the mark of an athlete for sure, is that you don't have your swing that day. You're not in the zone. So how do you find a way to go compete at a very high level, even though you don't have it all together right then? That is the mark. And it's actually funny because that's where Find a Way came from. So it's just so funny that you go from golf to being an elite agent, and now you're a Find a Way champion, which I dig, man. I'm kind of curious because a lot of people have been asking me this lately, like, what's the difference between your coaching and everybody else? And I'm just kind of curious, what do you feel the coaching has done for you?
So I don't have experience working with other coaches. I've been to other seminars and things like that. But
in real estate, you don't.
In real estate, true, yes. But what I do believe from attending those seminars and from doing my own research is that, you do an incredible job of teaching each person, of learning each of your clients and working with them on what it is that they need to do.
Yeah.
I have a different sales technique than many of your other agents. So we've tried
Or
to tailor
me.
what it is that we work on around that. And, most of my business comes from my past clients, my circle of influence. So trying to make sure that I'm staying in touch with those people instead of all these other things that I try and spend money on and then I regret doing.
Yeah.
So you've done a great job for me of learning who it is that I am, what's going to be successful for me, and continuing to make sure that that's what I'm focused on instead of all the other distractions that can come my way.
Yeah, there tends to be, and I'm glad you said that, man, because I don't think I've ever articulated it that well, but like there's a dogma of real estate. Like you have to do it like this. And the problem with that is it's not aligned with everybody's personality and strengths. Like your personality and strength, like you have, like people will hear like this fast talking, salesy, like type of person, and then they'll hear you and you would think, well, that person who's really fast talking and salesy is probably going to make more sales. And the answer is no, that's not true. It's because, but if I try to make you into that, it's not going to go very well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not your personality. Right. But if I just say, okay, well, how can Darren run his business in a way that's aligned with his personality and strengths to get results? Now we're grooving. Right? Like if I take a rabbit and I try to have him in a swim race versus a turtle, even a turtle will beat the rabbit. But if I take that rabbit and I say, no, you're a land animal, now he's at his forte, right? That's where he's really good at. And so that's really interesting. And I'm kind of curious, why did you decide to get into coaching? You said, you haven't been coached by anybody else. You've been to their seminars. You've obviously heard them invite you into coaching. Why did you decide to get into coaching with us versus everybody else?
The reason I got into coaching, period, is I felt like I needed structure and I needed some accountability. And, I was sick of hearing what a good agent I was and how well I took care of my clients, but feeling like I could do more business and not knowing exactly how to get more business. Why did I get into coaching with you? I went to a incredible 3-day seminar that you put on, and it seemed like you were speaking to me. With you having a background in athletics, I was able to relate to that, and I felt like your coaching was more all-encompassing than others, where you talked a lot about mindset, you talked about almost life coaching with the foundational 4. You talked about sales techniques and also the fact that it was a relatively small group and it wasn't a large national coaching program with thousands of agents appealed to me. So I was ready for coaching at that time, and it just seemed like if I was going to do that and spend the money on coaching, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you saying that. Like you actually articulated that really well. Like as you were saying that, I'm like, wow, that's actually the things that's my intention. That's my focus. So I'm glad that's what you said, man. I couldn't be more proud of you. And as we wrap up this interview, can you give our listeners, because we're going through it, this has got to be one of the, people say, well, the market's hot. It's also tough because there's I think less agents are doing more business. So if you were on the mediocre side, you're falling to the wayside, and the people who've risen are getting most of the business. What would be one or two pieces of advice that you've seen in your transformation to $100,000 a month? What would be one or two pieces of advice you would give agents?
Number one, figure out who trusts you and who your circle of influence is, whether those be past clients or whether those be friends and family, and make sure that they know what it is that you do and that they see that you're doing business, and you want to be trying to get referrals and making sure you get their business. And then number two, do something that is different than everybody else. I have a few things that I'm able to go into a listing appointment and show that I do that I don't think other agents do.
Which we're not going to say on this. We're not giving you all that.
But be able to show potential clients, whether they're buyers or whether they're sellers, that you're different, and show them what separates you from the average agent. Right now is an interesting time in real estate, because I go on a lot of appointments where people are like, why do I even need you? All I have to do is put a sign in front of my house and I'm going to have multiple offers.
Yeah.
So I need to show them not only why they need an agent, but why they need me, and why hiring me will be different than hiring somebody else or even doing it on their own. But as the market shifts and as it becomes more difficult to sell a home, then I'm going to need to adjust how I talk to people. But as David has said so many times, figure out where the market is going and go there. So that's always something I'm trying to think about.
Interesting. Those are three things that, like, if you're listening to this right now, those are three things that I would totally agree with you. If somebody asked me, Darren, and they said, what's three things that I could do to get to that level that Darren's gotten to, I would have said, number one, you basically said, start with your center of influence and make sure you know who those people are and that you love on those people. That's like, I literally wrote down in capital letters, start there. Most people are trying to get new business from people that don't know them without having a core of your business that's solid. I couldn't agree with that more. The second one was to do something different than other people and differentiate yourself, which, as you were saying the things, you're like, I do something, I'm like, I know what they are because I'm your coach, right? So I was like, oh my God, yeah, you do that really, really well, as you differentiate your experience that they have with you is much different. And then the third one is beating the market to a spot and letting the market come to you. That's what top agents do. They see where the market's going. It's kind of like Wayne Gretzky said, right? I never followed the puck. I skated to where the puck was going. And so if you just took those three things away, I think it would really help people. Now, you spent this time, you've invested in the people listening to this, you've invested with me. I want people to be able to send you referrals if they want to do that. So would you name the area that you work, and then how can people get a hold of you to give you referrals?
Best way to get a hold of me would be to text me.
Mm-hmm.
My cell phone number is 805-660-9459. And I work throughout all of Ventura County and into Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County is a big place. But if you have anybody in the Los Angeles area, I can likely handle them. If not, I can make sure that they're well taken care of.
That is awesome.
Ventura County.
Awesome. Darren, you're the man, dude. I'm so happy. I've been waiting for this interview. It's here. Congratulations again, my friend, and thanks for being on this and sharing with everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for all your help and for helping me to get here.
Yeah, brother. I appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.